Hello everyone, my name is Olivia and I'm a lifelong ballerina and classical musician. Here on YouTube I teach how to dance beginner ballet for free, as well as self-improvement tips and lifestyle adventure blogs, and I'm so glad that you're here. Today's video will be a really interesting one, and I'm so glad to delve into the different nuances between various ballet styles, as there are quite a few of them. But today we will specifically be tackling placement versus movement. Now, how did this video topic come to be? Well, long story short, I had to have several ankle surgeries last year, and I've been recovering and doing physical therapy. And while I was dancing with a professional ballet company for a while, I've had to take a break from that as I build up, being able to walk again and have more stamina and all that. So, I've actually had the interesting experience of being able to go to local adult ballet, like beginner classes in my area. And it's been interesting to me because the one school in particular that I've been interested in and I've been going to every now and then, they specialize in the Royal Academy of Dance ballet style. And that is the English ballet style, which is very closely similar to the French ballet style. Now, growing up, what's interesting is I started when I was like 3 years old dancing ballet. And I started at an English style ballet school, but then quickly my parents moved me to a different one because we moved, and it was a primarily Cuban ballet style. And then from there I actually ended up moving again, and we moved to a Russian style ballet school, and then we actually moved back, and then I ended up returning to the Cuban ballet school. So long story short, my training and the training that I provide for you all here for free is mainly Cuban and Russian style ballet. However, from this recent experience of mine of going to an English style school where I've been hearing terms that I remember hearing when I was a little girl, I want to make sure that I prepare you all for that in case if your local school is a English style of ballet school. If it's not, if you end up going to a Cuban or Russian or a different style of school, it's still good to learn more about ballet and how it's been evolving and all those intricacies of it. So today will be a really cool class. So with all that theory out the way, let's go ahead and get into today's lesson. So we are going to be talking about placement versus movement when it comes to different styles of ballet. And I wanted to use a new move for this course, which is called a ballonné. Now, there are many types of ballonné, but we'll go ahead and use the simplest one today, and that is a bit of a jump, okay? So a ballonné is almost similar to a pas de cheval, except you are traveling a bit. So the way you're going to start is you'll have your foot start in a sur le coup de pied and a fondue, and you're going to jump up and put the foot out in front of you in space or to the side or to the back, but we'll get to that later, and then land with it back in the sur le coup de pied and a plie. As far as timing goes, you want to time it where you're plieing, going out, and coming back down with everything together. So we can go ahead and try that at the bar really quick just to make sure you have some extra support. So again, we'll go ahead and start with the plie, jump up and down. And remember in ballet, when you jump, you want to point your toes, but you want to give yourself enough time to come back down into a plie. You do not want to land like this. There's a very advanced movement point where you kind of do that, but you definitely don't want to do that in flat shoes, so do not attempt that. But anyway, yes, so we'll start in our plie, out, down. Okay, now again, we can do that to the side, à la seconde, out, down, and you can also do that derrière. We'll try that together as well. Out, down, okay? I'm still working on my stamina, so I think I need to work a little bit more on my Ballonné Derrière. That's totally fine. We all have things that we need to work on and progress and get better. So why am I using Ballonné to demonstrate placement versus movement? Well, that's because Ballonné is a traveling step, or it can be a traveling step, right? So you can do a Ballonné in place, or you can travel with it forward. In Russian and Cuban style ballet, which is primarily what I teach here on this channel, we have names for the three directions of motion, which are Devant, à la Seconde, and Derrière. But in the French and English style, we have actually double that. So they have the same words for placement, which means just standing still in space. They have Devant they have à la seconde, and they have derrière. But they also have a word for when you travel in those directions. So let's say we're doing a ballonné to the front. That would not be devant, that would be en avant. So ballonné traveling front versus a ballonné in place, okay? Same thing for the side. They have a term for the placement, which is the same as I've been teaching you for the Cuban and Russian style. It's just à la seconde. But when you're traveling to the side, it's called de côté, okay? And lastly, for the back, we have derrière, right? So if you're doing just a ballonné to the back, it's the same as the Cuban and Russian style. It's called derrière. But if you are traveling backwards while you do that ballonné, it's called arrière. So traveling backwards, okay? So these nuances are very interesting. And there's also a second layer to this, again, in how the English and French place importance on intricate combinations, because there are actually combinations for that style that are completely separate motions, or called completely separate motions in the Russian and Cuban style. So another example is actually ballonné. So ballonné is the same in the Russian and Cuban style, but for English, there's actually Ballonné Simple and Ballonné Composé. So Ballonné Simple is what I just taught you. It's just doing a ballonné either in the same spot or traveling somewhere. But then there's a second layer called Ballonné Composé, which is a combination of ballonné into other steps. So a Ballonné Composé is when you do a traditional ballonné, right? Let's say you're traveling or you're in space. But then after that, you're going to do something called a posé in the English and French style, which is just stepping to the front and closing, okay? So that's almost like a sequence of, I'd say, 3 different parts to it. So we have the ballonné, we have the stepping, and then we have the closing part. That doesn't really exist in the Russian and the Cuban style ballet. It would really just be a ballonné to, like a stepping motion and then to a close, like it'd be 3 separate motions. But I think it's interesting, again, how the French and English focus on the intricacies of combinations. Everyone has a style that they maybe lean towards more, and all styles are beautiful, so it's definitely about finding what works for you. And of course, I understand that if you are attending beginner ballet classes, you might not have much of a choice in where you actually go to, depending on your work schedule and the pricing of tuition and, a lot of different factors. So, regardless, no matter the style you end up learning, I think it's all just really great, and I'm so glad that you are continuing your ballet education here with me. So for today's lesson, we won't be doing a combination just because I feel like these jumps require a lot of stamina and they can get a little bit tiring, but I definitely encourage you to go back and rewind and perhaps practice your ballonés to the left and to the right, and just get a little bit more stronger and better at balancing, because I know it can be a little bit hard to, jump and land. You got to keep this leg really, really sturdy, right? I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed today's lesson, please like, comment, share, subscribe, all those good things. It would really help grow this ballet community of ours. And I would love to hear from you in the comments below as I'm returning to filming these ballet tutorials. Thank you all so much again for being here and for joining me on this journey. I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.